and I'm doing a show called The 5 Worst Things I Ever Did in just out the box at the Caves with Just the Tonic. It's brilliant.
Cool. So the show is about the 5 worst things that you ever did, but from another point of view, are they also not the 5 best things that you've ever done, because, you know, they've given you the material for this cool show? And
yeah, kind of. I mean, some of them are just so awful that they could never be the best things that I've done. But also, I think that the show is about kind of finding the fun in the story, probably.
Yeah.
Finding
silver lining,
silver lining, definitely. Trying to rise from the flames like some kind of cool phoenix, rather than just, you know, carry on being a complete idiot for my entire life. And actually, certainly at least one of the stories I can remember while it was unfolding, that whilst I could feel that I would never be able to not know that I had done this for the rest of my life, part of me was also thinking, I can't wait to tell my friend Tom, because this is utterly ridiculous and so embarrassing for me and for the other person involved, who shall remain nameless at this stage.
Yeah.
Although she doesn't in the show. So
is she coming?
No, actually this person does. I think they do remain nameless. Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Ooh.
God.
We'll have to
sure
go
over the 25
it.
nights it'll slip out at some point.
That's very possible. So what do you think of the whole idea of doing something bad deliberately for the story?
Yeah, so I think people do that, don't they? Where, like...
Yeah, I mean, I know that I do that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, especially if, you know, if you're out with friends and stuff like that. I think it's more of a skill to do something bad for the story when you're on your own, or you're with people that don't know you. It's completely out of context of your friendship group, where it's like, oh yeah, that's so funny, like that other thing we did, when it's just like you're being completely mental. So yeah. Cool.
And so what's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
This thing, without wanting to divulge too much at this point, this thing did happen, was televised in front of, probably 10 million people on Friday night, and a friend of, and actually I suppose this is divulging that, but whatever, there was like, so this thing, there was like £1 million riding on it, right? And someone gave me some advice as to what the right thing to say would be to attain that £1 million, and it was wrong. So that person kind of still owes me £1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should probably get that off them somehow.
I should. Although he would argue that because I was 50% responsible for the decision, I also owe him £1 million. Well, certainly 500,000.
You could do like a kind of Shakespeare pound of flesh type deal.
Well, that's it. So, yeah, I tried to like cut. I suggested that I cut off his fingers, but in the end, he wasn't having it. So I just clawed at his thigh.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you any more questions about that, because this is a PG.
That was the end of it, though.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, we just kind of like scratched each other.
Great. So, what is your best place for a drink in Edinburgh?
Good question. Do you know what? We haven't actually been. Let me tell you how rock and roll we are in my flat. Last night we were editing sound cues at midnight and eating jelly worms. But there will of course be drink. And I think tonight might be the night, because I have my first preview. So I think tonight's the night where I've made the tweets we go out. And this is a really boring answer because you can get them everywhere. But I had a really good night in the Brewdog last year.
Cool.
Because we had a couple of strong IPAs. I like going up by the Cow, that whole little area.
Yeah.
I also like. There's a bar there called the Abattoir, and I think you have to have one of the passes to get in. Although, last year I was in there without a pass, so there's a tip. They're not the brightest on the door. No, actually, I had friends coming out and giving us passes.
Cool. So where can we see you?
So yeah, I'm at Just the Tonic at the Caves at 4 o'clock. And you'll like this. If you do come along to see me, don't be thrown by the fact that the venue missed my name off the massive poster they put outside, and that they've spelt the title of the show wrong. So although I am Al Donegan in the 5 worst things I ever did, if you come across a show that just says 5 worst things I've ever did, right, don't be offended by the bad grammar, and also don't think that it's some kind of really quirky pun. It's neither, right? It's an error on behalf of the morons who printed for Just the Tonic. And I'd like to take that back by calling them morons, because I think they also did my printing. They're very nice people. So it's probably someone at Just the Tonic himself who made this mistake. And to you I say, I forgive you.
Good.